Welcome back from the break. Thank you so much for taking the time out to watch us today. We're doing a very important show. We're talking about cheap addictions. And by cheap addictions, as you know, we are talking about smoking, gutka, chalia, meen puri, a whole assortment of things which one hasn't even heard of, honestly. In the studio with us today, we have Dr. Javed Usman. Assalamu alaikum, Dr. Usman. Dr. Usman is the professor and chairman, Department of Family Medicine, consultant physician at Ziauddin University.
That's right.
Thank you so much for taking the time out to talk to us today. If we start with the oldest culprit, smoking. It is known, it's a fact, it's a statistical fact that smoking is very bad for your health. It's even written on the cigarette packets. Still, why do people continue?
There are two factors, because it's so cheaply available. And for smoking, I suppose it's not the oldest culprit. If you look at it, then I suppose in our part of the world, betel nuts and pan and chalia.
Old tradition of pandans and all, absolutely.
And they have been so much ingrained in the culture that some of the other is still seen as a part of a cultural tradition to follow it.
शुरू में छोटे थे, इतना मैच्योर नहीं थे, तो शुरू में खाना शुरू कर दी, उसके बाद आदत बन गई। अब जाहिर सी बात है, अब खाते हैं, अब इसके बगैर नहीं रहा जाता।
हर कोई खा सके, जिसके मुंह पे जायका आ रहा है, उसके खाने के दिल चाह रहे हो, खा ले, उसकी मर्जी है। जरूरी नहीं है कोई इसको बोले कि आप खाओ, आपकी मर्जी, आप खाना चाहते हो खा लो।
Pele, you used to have the hookahs or you used to have beedis, which has now, I guess, transgressed into
But then
smoking.
hookahs and beedis, they were again in the domain of the male world.
Yeah.
If you look at in the past ancient history also. If you now go to the villages, now you see a female also with the hookahs and the beedis also.
Yes.
And another, I suppose, a new tradition of or a cultural dimension has been added by the shisha now. And people, I suppose this is very important, because hookah has been replaced in a most modern way in terms of shisha now. I believe your program is more geared to females, I suppose.
Yes.
So, you know, like if a father is smoking in the house, and in the mother, she takes a backward stance and she says, allows him. So it's the whole family is a passive smoker.
In our society, chalia, gutka, all of that is rampant as well. Rampant. I mean, we have, I can't even count the varieties we have of chalia and gutka.
Chalia is, if you say the technical term is betel
nut.
Betel nut. From that, if you look at it from ancient times, betel nut is the fourth most common psychoactive substance after caffeine, alcohol, and nicotine. So the psychoactive means that it creates a kind of a well-being or some kind of a high kind of a situation.
You're kidding
so
me.
chalia
Really?
is, yes, chalia itself is the most, it's called rakia nuts, and that has been, and it's not prevalent only in our subcontinent society, it's quite prevalent in the Southeast Asia, Indonesia, Malaysia, and all other places. And if you look at the basic products which has been made, is the betel leaf. That includes the lime, that is the tuna, then the betel nut itself. Now, betel nuts with the leaf, it's the combination actually of the lime.
So pan is much worse than chalia
On its own, one and the same thing.
Okay.
But you see, once you combine, your risk factors goes up. You must have seen old dadis and nanis. They used to have their pan and then they take out the tuna and put it over here at the commissures of the mouth.
Yes.
Now, if you go into, like I tell you, in Papua New Guinea also, it's a custom that they have a spatula, like a spoon, and they just take that lime and put it on the commissures of the mouth, and then they enjoy that. With cultures which readily accept eating pan and smoking. So that's troublesome. Into the West, for instance, you go to America and Canada for that matter, and in England. And people feel it very pride, and very proudly, they'll, after a dinner, they'll serve you the pan and the gutkas or the chalias.
गुटके में केमिकल यूज होते हैं और अदरवाइज जो भी अव्वल तो बनाते नहीं और ना बेचते हैं, इतना कोई इन्फॉर्मेशन नहीं। कुछ केमिकल भी कुछ सुनने में खून भी मिलाते हैं, वल्लाह आलम क्या क्या करते हैं, क्या क्या नहीं करते।
And nowadays, I suppose it's a new tradition. They call it what they have done is that what I see that they are renaming the whole thing. These concoctions are now known as mouth fresheners. So like, and we see it over here also that any foreigner who comes here, we take him out to a barbecue tonight dinner, and after that, what do we serve him? We try to tell him that this is our culture. If you haven't had this, that means you haven't seen a part of our culture. So we make him, poor chap, to eat this pan. And then it's
Can one single pan harm you? Or
no,
is it a habit over the years?
Habit. Now, habit, you see, like habit over the years. And the more longer the habit is, the more problems it is.
मेरी वालदा बोलती थी गुटखा नहीं खा, मैं घर में खाता भी नहीं था, मैं बाहर ही खाता हूँ, मैं घर में अभी भी नहीं खाता। दोस्तों यारों में बैठे पान लग गया मुंह को, पान खाया, पान खाते खाते पान महंगा हो गया, गुटखा मार्केट में आ गया, 1 रुपए का एक गुटखा है, आप 2 दफा भी खा सकते हैं, एक गुटखा आप 2 दफा भी खा सकते हैं, पान है 4 रुपए का, एक पान भी खाया 4 रुपए हो गए, 5 पान खाए 20 रुपए हो गए, अब 5 गुटखे आप लें 5 रुपए में आदमी का टाइम दिन निकल जाता है, तरीके से खाएंगे थोड़ा थोड़ा।
We do have to take a commercial break. I do want to ask you more detailed questions when we come back. With that, just a short commercial break. Please don't go too far. Join us again in the studio in just a couple of minutes.